Welcome back, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags, to the super, not, funny show, reviews. I am Jen Thépuppét, your resident Fabricant and commenter extraordinaire on all things pop culture. And today, I'm going to be reviewing the 11th episode of Clarice, coming to you from CBS and streaming on Paramount+. So, was it good? Was it bad? And should you be watching? Stick around because I have opinions. Clarice, episode 10, entitled Motherless Child. And this is primarily about Clarice trying to prevent Catherine Martin from doing something really stupid. She hinted at in a previous episode that she had found Buffalo Bill's mom, her address, where she was, and she was going to go see her and confront her about, why Bill was who he is. And thanks to a previous episode where she had a run-in with her ex-fiance, that kind of broke her, her need to, her agoraphobia, and got her to get out of the house. She decided to go make that trip and go confront this woman at bingo and then, later at her house. And it becomes clear very early on, like immediately at the start of the episode, that she's gone off and done something, and Clarice has a good idea where she might have headed to. And so her benefactor, the Attorney General, Attorney General Martin, sends her essentially to go find her daughter and to keep her from doing something stupid once they realize she's probably going to go confront Buffalo Bill's mom. So Clarice has to be pulled away from what VICAP is steadily working hard at, which is surreptitiously building a case against the attorney Joe Hudlin as an accessory or a mastermind behind the murders of the whistleblowers. And we find out, he stood to gain, big money from that, with the help of Julia, who, she's a trans woman who works at the firm that Joe Hudlin works at, and she's sticking her neck out on line because her girlfriend has cancer, and thanks to Julia's job, she's able to keep them, in a good house and with good medical treatment, et cetera, et cetera. But she wants to do what's right to help the women who were murdered, and in so doing, she uses her skills as an accountant to help track down like some of the malfeasance that they're going to use to bring Joe Hudlin down. It's all interesting stuff, especially because it seemed like that Murray, Agent Clark, had maybe a problem with her being a trans woman, and he has no big problem, not a huge problem with having confidential informants, even though in the previous one a confidential informant ended up being murdered. So but he and Esquivel, they work well with Julia, and they find out some things. And there's some, the great thing about all this thing is the subverting of expectation. There's a big subverting of expectation moment in a moment when Julia's down and talking with Esquivel and talking with Murray as they're investigating, and she seems to take umbrage at the way he stares at her and everything, and she assumes something about Murray. Not an unfair, not necessarily, it's an unfair assumption, but not an it's not unlikely the way she assumes that, he's staring because she's a trans woman, and not, as she finds out, that he is in fact wondering about her shade of hair because, as he's always thinking about his missing sister that was kidnapped, and that she used to dye her hair the same shade that Julia's hair is. And it turns out that there's no dye. It wasn't because he was staring because of her being trans, but because a certain aspect of her made him think about his sister. And that revelation, again, one of the great things that this show has been doing is kind of deepening the characters and flipping on its ear the things you might think or assume about them. Krindler being one of the main things, but definitely Murray being more, not just being some curmudgeonly old, possibly racist or sexist guy, but actually a pretty good dude once you get underneath, that little exterior that makes him seem like that sort of guy. it's all very much to the good. And I really enjoyed it. And I enjoyed seeing Julie and her, at her house with her friends and her life, and that Esquivel and Murray have the good sense to not intrude on that and to give her a choice about whether to participate in what they're doing. And, I'm convinced that she is going to continue to participate. At the same time, of course, you have Catherine Martin, who is making a really stupid mistake, gets in, insinuates herself into this woman's life, the life of Bill's mom, who apparently had nothing to do with his raising or anything, but still blames herself for him. And she almost makes a bad decision to kill her, but, Clarice goes in and essentially neutralizes the situation. But it does kind of indicate, and her psychiatrist agrees, that she's still, why is she going in and doing these things, these dangerous things on her own? And also, there's more revelations about her dad and her relationship with her dad, and maybe it wasn't as innocent or wonderful or whatever. Maybe there's repressed memories, because Clarice is good about repressing memories. I think we're going to get more to the bottom of it. I will have to say, though, maybe I see where they're going with it. Especially some of the not so subtle indications about some of her memories and about her dad, and a particular incident where her dad and her mom were fighting. I'm afraid they are going to go down a path that is a little too cliche and predictable. I hope they don't, because they've done a lot of work of subverting expectations. But there's the possibility there. So overall, I did like this episode. It was not super high in, action or anything. There was some action bits in it, but not much action. There's a lot of character development, a lot of plot moving forward. This is not a show that is reveling in, kind of the guns blazing sort of stuff. All of the action really is between, people, and seeing what they do and their motivations. A lot of it's going to be, in the procedural sense. They're going to be in interrogation rooms and whatnot. So overall, thought it was a really strong episode, a really good return to form, and I'm really interested to see where they're going to go in the future with this. I'm thinking maybe they have two episodes left in the season. I don't know, 1 or 2 episodes. Not sure, but we're going to see. All right, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags, that was my thought on this episode. What did you guys think about this episode of Clarice? Why don't you get down in the comments, let me know what you're thinking. Also, while you're at it, you can always hit me up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com, or at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter. I would love to hear what you have to say about this show. And hey, are you a member of the Super Not Funny Show family? What? You're not? Well, what are you doing with your life? Get down there, hit that subscribe button. While you're at it, hit that notification bell. It'll let you know when we drop new content, and we're doing that every week. We're doing new reviews, new reactions. We even have a podcast, the Super Not Funny Show Supercast, where me and my friend Lottie, we talk about the superhero goings on in the pop culture space, and we have a lot of fun with that. Come and join us. All right, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags, thanks for joining me. Come back next week as I review the 12th episode of Clarice. Until then, I've been Mo Thépuppét, your resident fabricant and comment extraordinaire on all things pop culture. And I'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace. Way too long.